You know what it is. Appreciate everybody forsaking their amazing weekend out on the streets to chill and kick it with me, SP. Hot show tonight, people. Hot show. But I mean, we say that every night, don't we? And we live up to it. Let's get it. Let's get it. It's Friday, people. And our lives are amazing. I mean, absolutely amazing. We have nothing to complain about. We have another day set aside to ourselves to accomplish all of the things that God made it possible within us to accomplish. I don't care how grandiose they are, we can pull them off. Right? You know what it is on this channel. We kill it. We go hard. And we don't settle for less. If you are of the weak, if you are the weary, if you have thin skin, if you don't do well with criticism, all in the name of doing better than you did yesterday, people, you know what it is. This is not the show for you. Because we do all of that here. All in the name of doing better than we did yesterday. Right? Right. Tonight's show is going to be hot. Even if I make some of you hot with me, I don't care. And you know I don't. So what we're about to do is kick this off like this. You know what this show is about? I don't want any of the bitter women on this show. I only want your daughters. Before you ruin them, I don't want any of the men who are about to take that path right and turn into a hood NIGGA. Give them to me. We're going to turn them into professionals. That's what we do here. And F your feelings. We talk proper here. I don't know, this music is it's my thing, right? Stop it, stop it, stop it. Listen, I know you miss me. I know. Because I rock with you guys like that too. To the fullest. But listen, people. We're about to set it off. I don't care whose feelings get hurt. If the shoe fits, people, what we have going on today is accountability parties. That's what we have going on. We have accountability parties going on, people. And guess what? We're going to dive right into it. Back pay. That's what the name of today's show is called. Back pay. As in child support. Back pay. Fellas, if you're having problem with your children, there's a high probability that you haven't been fulfilling your fatherly duties to the level that is required to get results out of your children. Ain't that something? People typically don't bite the hand that feeds them. They typically don't. It happens here and there in life. But for the norm, the overwhelming majority, that's not how the world works. Because we all have some qualms and some disagreements and some flaws that we can point out about our employers, but we're not going anywhere, right? There's a reason we're not going anywhere. Because it is literally the hand that feeds us. People, if you can't count up $2,500 that you have given your children individually, even adding up things that you've bought them, in the last 7 years, they have low-level respect for you. And to be honest, 7 years, $2,500, I'm giving you a lot of leadway, right? There's a certain type of submission that it gets you, a certain level of respect. Listen, if it's not coming in like that, make sure to get addicted to making your children's eyes pop. People, our children are important. Men, I'm not holding you accountable to women. Because when women let you jump on top of them, I'm going to say this again. I'm not holding you accountable to women. Because when women let multiples of you jump on top of them, no condom and things like that, they are liable. But fellas, I am going to hold you accountable for your children. You do owe them. You owe them. Because it is up to you whether or not they come into a dysfunctional world. A world that they can handle. A world that doesn't get the best of them, right? And I won't say the only, because I'm careful to, stress those type of words. But the main way that you can bring a child into this world without the world getting the best of them is if you have their backs. Intimately, financially, emotionally, and mentally. I don't care about you popping up every once in a while and wrestling with them on the ground. I don't care about that. Right? Here's where you get held accountable. Again, I don't hold men accountable for 4 Negroes jumping on top of her without a car. That's her. That's her. But when these kids have it hard, that's you. That's you. It's also you for not picking a woman to go raw in that you didn't already preconceive would give you autonomy over that entire situation. You don't go raw in a woman who you kind of don't believe will give you autonomy over that entire situation. Right? And what I mean when I'm saying autonomy over that entire situation, she needs to be the type of woman to where even if things don't work out well, you kind of know just by this woman's demeanor, just by this woman's character, that she's going to let you come in and do everything you can to produce a outcome for that child's life that is conducive to success, right? And if she is that type of woman and that child doesn't turn out that way, you had a large part to do with it. We're going to rock the boat a little bit tonight. We're going to rock the boat a little bit tonight. Listen, even if the finances aren't coming in like that, make sure that you get addicted to making your children's eyes pop. Make sure that they know you're a capable man. Make sure that they believe within their heart that dad is capable of resolving problems that come up in my life. To be honest, especially financially. You know, we throw that word materialistic around too much, and it has lost the true meaning of its definition. Material things matter. They are one of the foremost things that demonstrate to somebody how we feel about them, right? You shouldn't have your kids waiting on you to hit licks, because a lot of times you can get caught up believing in it. And you have good intentions. You know that there's a thing coming. You're just waiting on it. And soon as you hit that $8,000 lick, you know you have all plans on giving that child $1,500. But see, that thing isn't predicated upon you. It's predicated upon when that opportunity presents itself. And therefore, if it doesn't present itself for another month, another month, another month, and another month, you've led that kid astray for quite some time. And throughout the duration of time that that kid has been waiting on you, the kid has kind of developed a low-level sense of respect for you. Kind of lost faith in the things that you say you'll do, when you say you'll do them. Your kids need to see some stability in your life. I don't care what kind of job it is. A job lets people know he has an income. So it's not far-fetched for me to be able to call him and ask for the things that I need. But if you were known for not having an income for years at a time, your kids don't even have any incentive to think that they can call you and ask for money, because they don't see any coming in. Kids adjust their belief system off of tangible things. That's what they do. I'm going to say this, fellas. It's time for you to start going hard and making up for the things that you didn't come through with for them when their peers, dad, were coming through for them. Find out what it is that they need, and on their birthdays, come through and show your. That's what I want you to do. On graduations, make a big deal of it. You be that parent out in the crowd that's got everybody else saying, bare minimum, that dad loves their child. I don't care what you have to do. Release 50 balloons. Let that child know that they are a superstar in your eyes. Right? Listen, fellas, you mean well. But those of you who are resourceful and you know how to get your kids' cars fixed for cheaper than what they were going to get it fixed for, you have connections and things like that, it's cool. But they need to see that you can get on the level that their friends' dads are on. Fellas, it's cool if it is, because it's better than nothing. But it doesn't need to be money that you got from a lick or a lump sum of money that you've been waiting on. It needs to be something that's consistent and intentional that you do for your children on a regular. They need to know this of you. They need to know this of you. They need to know it wasn't a one-time thing. It's called stability, people. Again, start being intentional with your support for your children. You shouldn't be able to lay up in your new woman's home watching your favorite shows without your children popping up in your minds. And see, this is the problem with having multiple children by multiple different women. It gets a little bit more complicated the more children you have. You have to think about Cedric. You have to think about Cathedra. You have to think about Michelangelo. That's where I do hold you accountable. There's no need in having babies by multiple different women. But I will say this, the majority of us don't. The majority of them is 18% of the dysfunctional men in the black community that these women like. Fellas, don't be waiting on your business to blow up. Don't tell them, hold on, you're going to do this and you're going to do that. Why would you expect a kid to respect and do everything that you say when you haven't shown that kid that you also make the world respect you? Turbulence, people. Turbulence. Those of you who are familiar with our show, because this is our show, those of you who are familiar with our show, you know, when I let you know turbulence is approaching, it means I'm probably going to hit subjects that other people might be leery or scared about touching, right? Let's go. When you haven't shown that kid that the world respects you for how you move, and how you get things done, at this point, you're just talking. Kids need to see something that validates who you say you are to them. You can't just keep talking. Kids need to see something that validates who you say you are to them. Not that you just talk and give them information, but that you walk in a way that causes the world to yield you positive results. You know we're going to talk about it tonight. See, because I care more about the kids than I do you. I love you, but the kids are going to carry on our legacies. Does it look bad right now as far as that is concerned? Yes. But we have to start instructing these kids to a more intimate degree. Kids need to see something that validates who you say you are to them, and not just to talk to them and give them information, but that you walk in a way that causes the world to yield positive results to you, right? If that's not happening, you have just become the lecturer. The same way that I teach you men how to lock down a woman and get her to compromise with you and negotiate with you about behaviors of men that a lot of women consider too much to deal with, it boils down to, can you pay like you weigh? If you remove burdens from a woman's life that are so significant that her life begins to feel easier, fellas, that's when she's willing to compromise and overlook some of the things that you do that women typically wouldn't be willing to overlook. Why wouldn't you think it's the same with your children? In order for you to get what you want out of your children, you have to pose a threat, and you can't whoop them late in their late 20s. So the only other threat that you can pose is the threat of you being so valuable in their lives that if you were removed or suspended from their lives, the comfort levels of their lives would change drastically and immediately. And if you're not contributing to their lives, who the hell cares if they don't see you for 6 months, when seeing you for 6 months has the same benefits and results as if they don't see you for 6 months? Right? When they can say that about you, you're not leaving an impact. But look at this. When you're the only one they can call when it's time for shoes, when someone's car breaks down and it costs $400, listen, people, I'm just going to say it. The only control that you have over your children's is to make them become dependent upon you. You create a lifestyle so beneficial to them that the threat of you removing their access to you becomes so unbearable that they'll develop a desire to do right, even when they don't feel like doing right. Fellas, I'm going to throw a number at you. In the last 7 years, if you haven't spent at least $3,000 to $3,500 on your children, you have no power over them and you're an absentee dad. Ain't that something? The dads who have the most influence over their children are the ones who have developed a reputation for being able to be called upon to fix life's toughest situations. Is that you? The dads who have the most influence over their children are the ones who have developed a reputation for being able to be called upon to fix life's most serious situations. If you're not the parent that the children typically get their resources from, you're also not the parent who has the most influence over your children. How about that? How about that? At the bare minimum, you have to be the parent that the kid gets half of their resources from. In all of life, we have to earn what we get. For some reason, we believe that when we say you have to earn your respect to get respect, we remove that from children. I don't understand why, because it's applicable, right? In all of life, you have to earn what you get. You want respect from your children? People, it has to be earned. A lot of us sometimes get caught up thinking because my title is dad, he owes that to... No. So let's do it this way. What if my dad is a staunch, raunched crackhead? Okay, I just corrected myself. So the Bible does say, honor thy mother and father. And it also, people usually only say honor thy mother and father. But the scripture after that says that it may be well with you, that your days may be long. So, okay, let me correct myself. And I don't mind doing so because I don't want to give you wrong information. So let me say this. Maybe you do owe that person respect, but there's a multitude of things that you don't have to acknowledge them as. Provider being one of them. Person I admire being one of them. Pretty much the most important things, right? You would be surprised what a woman would be willing to overlook if you were a significant factor or benefit in her life. She's not going to come out and say it to you because she'd have to swallow a lot more pride than women typically have to swallow, right? But at this point, it's beyond women. In all of life itself, all of us yield to what we know as the powers that be. We're going to talk about it. And the powers that be are typically defined as whatever it is that makes our lives more comfortable and easier. I said it. Those are the powers that be. And fellas, are you the powers that be? If you're not, at least you know why. You haven't been handling your business to the degree that yields fruits, respect, and influence in the eyes of your children. And in some cases, in the eyes of that woman. And some of you actually think you have because you've been doing little things here and there and you're a present dad. You believe because you're not one of the men who got her pregnant, moved to a different state, and that you pop up here and there and that you talk to your kid on the phone, you believe that you're doing something and you're not. By all means, if there is a proximity-based state-wide dilemma, do the best you can. But fellas, let me be the one to tell you, it's not enough to get the level of respect that you want from your children. You'll almost be a stepdad in their eyes. Some of you may have phenomenal children who will accept minimal. But trust me, even with them, it's actually getting old. You've been petitioning these children to be understanding for 6 years, and it's getting old. Especially the more they see, the more their friends that their dad does for them. The more they see what their friend's dad does for them, it's getting old fast. For the most part, those of you who are still having disciplinarian problems from your children, trust me, it has about 80% to do with how you're functioning as a dad, how you're providing as a dad. But listen, fellas, all is not lost. All is not lost. The damage can be repaired. It's called back pay. It's called back pay, people. For those of you who know you've been slacking over the years in your children's lives, and some of you even gotten comfortable with it, those are your kids, fellas. They deserve to see you in go hard mode. And go hard mode is what will be required to come back in and gain their respect. To be honest, you should even be grateful that there is a such thing as a second chance in this dilemma, in this scenario. Guess how you get that ball to bouncing? You stop at that child's house with $2,000 in 20s and 50s cash, folded in half with a rubber band around it, and you slap that knot in his or her hand. Fellas, that doesn't repair the damage. That doesn't repair the damage that has been done. That is simply the beginning of the new covenant between you. That's what that is. And here and there, you're going to pick up on little things. I want you to start asking that kid monthly throughout your conversations. And periodically, listen, it's imperative how fluid the conversations are. When these conversations take place, this is when you start asking that kid monthly and periodically how everything's going. Just in random conversations, right? How's everything going? And here and there, you're going to pick up on the little things that they say are wrong, right? That's when you go pull your cape out of the closet, and it begins with this. Well, how much does it cost? Boom. And I don't want you to cash app the money. I don't want you to cash app the money. It all needs to be cash, hand-to-hand transactions. Unless you live in a different state than your child, but it's more impactful if it's cash, hand-to-hand transactions, and they see you pulling it out of your wallet, counting it, and handing it to them. When I say see you pulling it out of your wallet, counting it hand-to-hand with them, I mean that they can see that what you gave them wasn't all that you had. Now listen to me. This is strategic, right? This is, people, what did we say the title of this was? The title of this show is called Back Pay. When you approach your children and you're trying to make amends according to everything that you failed at, what needs to be done is you need no Cash App, no Zelle. What's the other one? It's Venmo, right? No Cash App, no Venmo, no Zelle. Your children need to see you pull this money out of your wallet and hand it to them, and they also need to see that it wasn't all that you had, right? This lets them see Dad's new consistency. When they see Dad's new consistency, It says not only does dad have my back, but that dad has apparently gotten better himself. And now I can count on him. Right? Somebody I can call on when I need to. And that this thing that he just demonstrated to me, it wasn't a one-time thing or a two-time thing. But dad's doing well for himself as well. I can count on him. Right? People. And this is when your brand starts speaking to them in terms of the go-to parent. This is when you start getting some say-so and some respect. Back pay. You owe up, fellas. Those of you, listen, if you can even count the money that you've probably pushed out to your children over the last 4 years, that's a problem within itself. That's a problem. Your children need to see what their peers see from their dads. Listen, you should also educate them up on the terms of frivolous spending, of course, right? Fellas, in order for our children to be okay, we have to guide them and help them navigate around the potholes and speed bumps that we encountered throughout life. But the only way you can do that is if they respect your opinions, if they adhere to the conversation that you push on them. Right? We have to do better than what was done to us. We have to be a better demonstration upon this, of the stereotypes that they have heard amongst black men. We have to impress upon them the incentive to say, not my dad. I do understand what you guys are saying, but not my dad. Will go to war about me financially, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Not my dad. People. Everybody is held accountable. Everybody is held accountable. And not only do we have to do better, we have to allow them to see our attempts to do better. Right? Everybody enjoy your weekend because we are amazing people. We've pulled off amazing things. And the things that we can pull off are a lot huger than what we've seen even from our own selves. Love. The same way that I teach you men how to lock down a woman and get her to compromise with you and negotiate with you about behaviors of men that a lot of women consider too much to deal with, it boils down to, can you pay like you weigh? If you remove burdens from a woman's life that are so significant that her life begins to feel easier, fellas, that's when she's willing to compromise and overlook some of the things that you do that women typically wouldn't be willing to overlook.